Welcome back to Ag Enterprise Management. If you have not done so already, please review the first introductory module. My name is Matthew Johnson, and I will be your lecturer for the course. For more information, check out the course site and the syllabus for this course as well. During this module, we'll be going over both national and state information on agriculture. There's a long history of agriculture in Hawaii and throughout the U.S., and affects everything from the economy, politics, and culture. Before we start creating our own ag business enterprise, it's important for us to take a step back and look at the macro level of the industry to better understand its larger picture. Learning objectives for this module include farmer demographics and statistics in both Hawaii and the rest of the United States, and to learn current economic trends and government policies. So to get started, we'll talk about the definition of small-scale farms. As of 1974, USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, defined a farm as any place that has $1,000 or more of agricultural goods sold, and these could be either crops or livestock throughout the year. Generally, small farms are considered to be operations that gross $250,000 or less. Sometimes farms of this size are referred to as small or medium-sized farms, or small and intermediate-sized farms, with mid-size or intermediate farms being considered those earning between $100,000 and $250,000. Small farms contain a variety of farm types and structures. We have rural resident family farms, and we also have retirement farms. These are small farms whose operators report they are retired. There's also residential lifestyle farms. These are small farms whose operators report a major occupation other than farming. So living on the farm, but it's not their major source of income. And then we also have intermediate family farms. So these are farming occupation farms. So this is where the family farms operators report farming as their major occupation. And then we also have low sales farms. So these are gross sales for the year less than $100,000. And then you have high sale farms. Gross sale farms that are between $100,000 and just under $250,000. Government definitions related to agriculture and farms have important and far-reaching political implications for agriculture producers. Government definitions qualify farmers for participation incentives in the Farm Bill, which we're going to be talking about later in this module, as well as assistance from the numerous USDA agencies that provide technical support to farmers. Some of these are the risk management agencies, insurance programs, and they also have the farm service agencies, which provides credit and loans and other assistance, as well as granting programs. All right, let's talk a little bit about the importance of small-scale farms. All right, so for rural areas, they provide biodiversity. This is growing diverse plant species, and this could be both crop for production, but also non-crops, other weeds and other type plants. These all contribute to a diversified crop species within that region. It also fosters a habitat diversity, increasing non-crop animal insect diversity. So you have a bunch of plants, you also have a bunch of animals, other animals interacting in that environment. Farmland preservation. Right, so we're seeing a lot of this here in Hawaii. The balance between urban sprawl and keeping ag land in ag production. Also keeping and retaining rural economies and ways of life. Small farms can provide income and economic opportunities for rural residents, communities, and economies. So not everyone has to be living in the urban area. Some farmers engage in agriculture as a lifestyle choice, meaning that economic self-determination of rural communities may be enhanced by small farming situations. Small farms are also part of the cultural heritage in some rural and agriculture communities. We also have urban farms starting to become more and more popular, especially in Honolulu. And benefits of urban farms include increased food access or community food security. Farms and garden cities can increase access to fresh and healthy food for residents who may not otherwise have access to these, thereby enhancing community food security. Food and environmental education by providing opportunities for hands-on and experiential learning. Urban farms and gardens can help increase residents' awareness of the food system and environment. Can also provide job training. Some urban farms provide training in horticulture and other related activities, as well as basic job skills. Cultural continuity for some immigrant groups. So we see Pacific Gateway, based in Kalihi, provides this for different Southeast Asian immigrant groups coming to Hawaii. Some groups and individuals with agriculture backgrounds have immigrated to the U.S. as refugees, and urban farms and gardens can have a sense of cultural continuity. Also, urban farms provide increase in green spaces. So with the development in Kaka'ako, there's a lot of talk about creating different types of green spaces. So it's not just a bunch of large condo buildings. Urban farms and gardens can provide and preserve green spaces in urban settings otherwise dominated by the built environment. Let's talk a little bit about recent trends, economic forces, and policies affecting small farms. As I mentioned before, farmland conversion has impacts on both farming communities and the environment. As open space and natural habitat are converted to built uses, land becomes more expensive, making it more difficult for existing and beginning farmers to access land. So if a farmer is competing with a condo developer for a piece of land, it makes sense that that land becomes much more valuable if you're going to convert it into a condo building than a small farm. So these are some of the challenges that local farmers are dealing with, just being able to access land. Land and farms continues to decrease. Between 2011 and 2012, the USDA estimated that 3 million acres of farmland were converted to non-farm uses. Small farms, those grossing under $250,000 in a year, represent 91% of farms in the United States. And in Hawaii, in 1980, there were over 350 acres of farmland. And then in 2015, there was only 151 acres of farmland available. So in this slide, we're showing some economic data for Hawaii, coming from 2013, and also we have a chart there showing different crops that were grown in 2015. So for 2013, Hawaii's agriculture, real gross domestic product, so this is the total economic activity for agriculture in the state, came in at $691 million, or 1% of total GDP for the state. All right, so it kind of shows here that agriculture has a very low economic impact for the state, but it's becoming more, people are becoming more interested in agriculture, and it has more of an impact, I believe, than just economic purposes. Also, there is 2.6 of the total labor force is coming from agriculture at 23,000 total jobs. And the top selling agriculture items included seed corn at $184 million, with vegetable and melons coming in at $43 million. So this shows here the significant impact within the agriculture industry that the seed corn industry has, whereas by far the most top selling commodity in the state. And this information is coming from the contribution of agriculture to Hawaii's economy, as well as Hawaii's agriculture land use study. So here we have a couple of different maps, one from 2015 and one from 1980, showing the ag land utilization for Hawaii. In 1980, there were over 350,000 acres in crop production, 85% of which was tied in with sugar and pineapple. In 2015, total crop acres in production had dropped to just a little over 150,000 acres, which is 20% of that being in sugar and pineapple. Each region that experienced a shutdown of plantations have responded differently. Some have seen the emergence of new crops, others have not. Like on the Big Island, they have a lot of coffee, macadamia nut production. Understanding the pattern of this recovery process will help to better predict the trajectory of future crop production statewide. In 2017, the final sugar plantation shut down with HCNS on the island of Maui. However, good news is, even though that land's been followed for a couple of years and there's been a lot of question about what was going to happen with that land, there's just a recent development that came out back in December where a new company coming in to put that former sugar land into sustainable agriculture production. So you can check that article out on the course website. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about economic challenges for small farms. So broad economic forces impacting the U.S. agriculture sector have specific effects on the economic viability of small farms. Market conditions create an economic environment in which farmers must constantly adapt by finding new market niches or increasing the scale of production to remain economically viable. Consumers are accustomed to cheap food and may not recognize or be willing to pay for qualitative differences in agricultural products, including both social and environmental externalized costs of production. Larger, well-capitalized farms adopting high-technology production practices, along with vertically integrated agricultural firms, are able to capture the consumer market. They have lower per-unit cost of production and marketing costs, as well as the ability to provide consumers with convenience and consistency at a price below what is economically feasible for small-scale producers. Small farms are also less able to compete in conventional wholesale markets due to constraints on liquid cash flow as well as time constraints. Many consumers struggle to meet their basic needs, so paying extra for qualitative differences in products or simply to support the small farm sector is not an option. So next we're going to talk about the Farm Bill. So the Farm Bill is a primary agriculture and food policy tool omnibus for the federal government. So Farm Bill is a federal legislation that sets priorities and funding for agriculture and related environmental and emergency food programs in the United States. The Farm Bill is revised and then acted by Congress every 5 to 7 years. So actually you may have seen this in the news recently that a new Farm Bill just passed through Congress back in December 2018. So there's actually an article listed on the course website for you to check out. A Farm Bill legislates and allocates funding in the following areas. So it really covers a lot of different things. So this includes commodity products. These are things like corn and soybean, conservation, trade, nutrition, agricultural credit, rural development, ag research, forestry, energy, horticulture, and a variety of other type products. One part of the Farm Bill, known as the nutrition title, authorized funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, formerly known as food stamps. Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, WIC, Farmers Market Nutrition Programs, and other emergency food and community food security granting programs. So another hot topic that you hear about in the news a lot is immigration and farm labor policy. Immigration policy significantly impacts the agricultural sector because of the large percentage of farm workers who are foreign-born. A recent report from the USDA Economic Research Service found that over 40% of all hired farm workers were foreign-born. Currently, ag employers are able to bring in temporary non-immigrant foreign workers under what's called a H-2A visa, although the program remains controversial and changes are being debated in Congress as of this presentation. Changes in immigration policy could impact both small and large farms by restricting the number of immigrating workers available for hire, requiring increased wages paid to farm workers, and increasing the number of farm workers who immigrate to the U.S. illegally. Many small-scale farmers, similar to farms of larger scale, also rely on temporary or even seasonal farm workers as a way to remain economically viable. So with all the challenges for small farms, there has to be strategies and movements to support these small farms. One way that small farmers have been able to realize economic returns in the face of increasing control of the market by larger firms is by providing products that these larger farms cannot or just do not want to provide. Examples are such as specialty products. These could be a variety of different value add or early season crops, or different kinds of services, whether it's CSA, community supported agriculture, or U-pick operation. Also could include different production methods. This could be certified organic, free range, gluten-free. Some niche markets may eventually cease to be viable economic options, though, for these small-scale producers, such as when increased demand for specialty products reaches an economic threshold, making it profitable for large-scale producers to also join in that market. Niche markets become subject to the same economic trends that lead to the control of the market by large firms and a decline in the economic viability of small-scale producers. Another option for small farms is direct marketing. Direct marketing is one way for small farmers to capture a larger share of the price for their products, as it reduces the number of sellers in the supply chain. Popular direct marketing strategies covered in this course include community-supported agriculture, which we're going to be talking more about, selling at farmers markets and roadside stands, and direct sales to restaurants. Also, there could be a diversification of on-farm enterprises, such as Kahuku Farms, which is shown in the picture here on the slide. Rather than relying on one or a few crops or types of livestock to provide sole income, small farms may choose to diversify their production activities. So this could be enterprise diversification, so it provides income at more points throughout the year, rather than relying on just one harvest. This could also be product diversification. Right? So this just includes having different products instead of just one or two crops on the farm. And this could also be value-add products. So it's taking raw commodity products and turning them into different things like jams, dried fruits, cheeses, or floral wreaths. Also could be services. This could have farm tours as well as U-pick operations. Another way to support local farms is through policy strategies. So there are some large-scale agricultural associations, the American Farm Bureau Federation, Natural Farmers Union, and various crop-specific organizations exert significant influence with regard to agricultural policy making. There are also farmer coalitions that advocate for policies that are more favorable for smaller scale and or minority-owned farms. These include the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition, the National Family Farm Coalition, and the Federation of Southern Cooperatives and the Rural Coalition. We also have land preservation and transition strategies. So land trusts and agriculture easements help preserve land from development in rural and urban spaces, in some cases keeping land accessible and more affordable for small-scale farmers. So here in Hawaii, we have the Hawaii Trust for Public Land. And we also have farm transition and farm-like organizations offer programs to help beginning or immigrant farmers gain access to farmland and mentorship. So here in Hawaii, we have Go Farm Hawaii, Beginning Farmer Ranch Program, and Pacific Gateway. We also have education strategies. So these are consumer education efforts to have grown since the 1970s. They've been emphasizing the importance of non-farmer support for small-scale and family farmers in maintaining an economically viable small farm economy. Examples include Buy Fresh, Buy Local campaigns, which the local Hawaii Department of Agriculture run, and marketing locally grown foods at retail outlets and in restaurants. We also have farm-to-school initiatives, such as the Aina Pono Farm to School initiative, that is working to get more locally grown product into small school cafeterias. Okay, so that wraps it up for this module, where we went over the farmer demographic and statistics in both Hawaii and the rest of the United States. And we also went over current economic and government policy trends for supporting small local farms. So check out the course website for reading assignment, as well as any written assignments and a writing submission that is due by next week. Okay, aloha.